Yo, Shortbox Nation, this is Botter, and I'm here to tell you right now that con season starts early this year with the return of Northeast Florida's premier anime, comic book, and sci-fi event, Collective Con. That's right, Northeast Florida's largest pop culture convention returns for its 10th year on March 8th through the 10th at the Prime Osborne Center in Jacksonville, Florida. 10 years of Collective Con, they're pulling all the stops out to make sure this is a can't-miss event. And the guest list they got going, don't even get me started on the guest list. I mean, they've got A-list celebrity guests and voice actors from some of your favorite movies, anime, and video games like Elijah Wood and Sean Ashton, Ray Park, Trisha Helfer, Ross Marquand, Max Middleman, and Bo-Katan herself will be there, Katie Sackhoff. Tell me what other convention is giving you the opportunity to meet Frodo and Sam from Lord of the Rings, Darth Maul, and One Punch Man all under the same roof. Only at Collective Con. And if you're looking to get some of your favorite comics signed, or if you want to get an original sketch from some of the best comic artists in the world, well, you're in luck, because there'll be plenty of comic and creator guests there, like DC comic artist extraordinaire Clay Mann, Harvey Award-nominated illustrator John Taylor Christopher, Marvel and DC cover artist Chris Stevens, and acclaimed Star Wars author Timothy Zahn. They'll all be at Collective Con this year. And if you're looking to bring the family, or if you want to make a weekend out of it, you're in luck, because there'll be so much going on at Collective Con that weekend in the form of vendors, fan panels, video game tournaments, cosplay contests, after parties, and a bunch of fan events. You can purchase single and 3-day weekend passes now using the link in this episode's show notes, or by going to collectivecon.com to book your tickets and hotel. Buy your tickets now, and I'll see you at Collective Con, March 8th through the 10th. Now let's start the show.
Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the Shortbox Podcast.
The Shortbox Podcast is recorded live from Jacksonville, Florida.
Ready to get this thing started?
Been ready.
All right, Ashley, can we get started? Do I got the green light from you?
Yeah, I'm good to go.
All right.
Yeah, first off, Ashley, do you have water? Can you hydrate for us, please? How about that?
I don't want that fancy room to get too hot. We're going to feel like fucking that Godzilla statue slowly melting.
Loki's crying a tear. I want to play Count the Minutes of how long Ashley's straight hair starts getting curlier.
Oh, yeah.
And curlier.
For those of you tuning in, Ashley has made a big sacrifice when you consider it is late May in Florida of all days. She has turned off her AC to ensure.
Yes, her AC setting is on Mustafar. So.
If only the patrons knew what we put up to give them this quality audio and quality show.
She's putting up with it. We ain't putting up with nothing.
Bro, we've been putting up with no AC in the studio room for years now.
And whose fault is that?
Mine, because I'm not paying my GA bill. Fuck those guys, all right? All right, let's go ahead and get started. Yo, Shortbox Nation. Welcome back to the podcast. This is episode 359, and today we're talking about the astronomical and staggering divorce rates here in the United States. According to one...
Hold on. Wait.
I'm telling you, we got to talk about this. I'm tired of overlooking this.
This is the weirdest way to start a show, Botter. What are you doing, dude?
Run with it. Trust me.
I know. I'm running with it. I'm just saying. You left me. I'm cold here. I'm in the dark. Why are we talking about sad stuff, man?
Well, let me fill you in real quick, man, because I think this is an issue that we need to use our platform, the number one comic book podcast in the universe, to discuss.
You are so weird.
According to one random non-fact check article I found 10 minutes before hitting record, it's estimated that the divorce rate in the U.S. last year alone was about 45%.
Whoa.
That's nearly half of all marriages destined to be wrecked.
You guys are beating the odds.
And then
Congratulations.
Not me. I'm a casualty.
The first one's practice marriage, right?
I'm digging it.
And then you have factors like financial stability, infidelity, and communication issues being causing factors for divorce. And did you know that the likelihood of divorce within the first 5 years of marriage actually increases by 13% for couples who meet at work?
No one knows these things. No one.
Good, because we are not here to talk about that depressing shit. We are actually here to talk...
Wow, seamless. Very seamless.
Thank you. See? Award-winning journalism on this side of the mic.
Only the best for our listeners.
We're actually here to talk about an outlier to those stats. A shining example of quite the opposite of everything I just shared. We'll be talking about Mike and Laura Allred, an active and married couple in comics. The comic industry is one of the most cutthroat and financially shaky artistic industries there is. I believe it was Jack the King Kirby that said it best when it comes to this industry. Comics will break your heart, kid. And there's plenty of proof and personal accounts we've heard come out of the industry to make that quote hold weight. But the Allreds let us know there's an exception to that sentiment. They prove that a heart can be fulfilled by the medium and the profession of being a comic creator, especially when the journey is shared with the love of your life by your side. This episode will
mend your heart.
Yeah. This episode will mend your heart. Thank you, C. This episode will actually act as the 17th installment of our long-running Artist Spotlight series. And much like the classic episode that was re-released last week, we'll be spending the better part of this episode celebrating on the captivating artwork of famous comic couple Mike and Laura Allred, a highly talented couple still working in comics today who originally met in college and married as teenagers and have been working side by side, making a name for themselves for the last 20 plus years. If you're tuning in for the first time, welcome to the show. My name is Badr Milligan, and I will take sole responsibility for that very jarring intro.
Very big of you. We will let you.
I appreciate that. See, I was hoping that I'd get the cosign from you of all people.
Of all people.
In the studio with me is Edmund Danzart, a.k.a. the Edbot 5000.
What's up?
What's up, Ed? How you doing today?
Good, man. Good.
Looking good, brother. Looking good.
Appreciate it.
Calling in on mic number 2 is Ashley Laney Hoy. What's up, Ashley?
Not much.
All right. Same old, same old. I like it, Ashley. I like it. Also on the big screen calling in and rounding out our panel today is our favorite new dad, Cesar Cordero. What up, Papa Cordero?
What up? Yo, I'll tell you what's up, man. I got 3 phones, man. 2 for the hose and 1 for the Lord. Know what I'm saying, dog?
This will be the episode I show your baby when she's to that proper
It ain't
age.
easy being greasy, son. I'm on the 4th floor.
Damn, are you a pimp today? Pimp named Cordero? Pimp named Cesar? You got to say it in
It's a
all.
pimp
It's a pimp
named
named Slick.
Pimp named Slickback.
Pimp named C, the whole thing.
That's it.
All right, we're all feeling pretty jovial today. I like that. Before we get into the main topic, I do want to say that much like all of our previous Artist Spotlight episodes, the subject of today's show was selected by our Patreon subscribers. I'm going to give them a round of applause. Ed came up with the theme and the potential candidates, and then our patrons took care of the rest. Ed, did you foresee that the Allreds would be tying with Frank Miller and Lynn Varley? You also had the Dotsons, Terry and Rachel Dotson, on the poll as well.
I am surprised. I thought it would be Frank Miller and Lynn Varley. I was not expecting, because you said it was a pretty wide victory, right? Or was it closer?
No, it
Like
was.
landslide?
No, it was a Mike and Laura Allred tied with Frank Miller and Lynn Varley.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Okay.
But we made the executive decision last episode. We were going to go with the Allreds to break the tiebreaker because we've already spent some time. I feel like we spent a lot of time talking about Frank Miller on this show, so we want to put a spotlight on a different comic book couple. And I think, when you consider, the theme was highlighting popular and famous and impactful
And they're still
couples.
together.
Exactly.
And they're still together.
That might have been a big reason.
There is that. There is that.
And since we're on the topic of the people who help us keep the lights on, I want to shout out a new patron that made the smartest financial decision of his whole life. Let's go ahead and give a warm welcome to our newest Patreon subscriber, Henry Hernandez. What up, Henry? Henry wrote a nice message to us as well. Really, here it's very short. He wrote, "Yo, short box. Cheers from Puerto Rico.
What?
Happy to have found I did that for Cesar. Happy to have found the podcast during lockdown in the pandemic. Enjoying it since day one.
Nice.
Blessings
Wow.
as
That's
always."
Wow.
Shout outs to Henry, man. Welcome.
Hey, yo, shout out to you. Shout out, Henry. Yeah, man, I'll take them blessings, bro. Champagnes all around.
Dude, what happened to your voice? That was really gritty. What you do, eat a pile of rocks?
Bro, I be eating all these rhymes up, dog. That's what I'm trying to tell you right now. I got to eat up all these bad reviews, done.
Ooh.
You don't know. You don't see it on the streets.
Damn, it's been a minute since we got a street C on the
Yo,
show.
they call me Amit, son.
See, Ahmed, what are you, the lost brother of the Wu-Tang Clan? Are you related to RZA and Jizza at all? I'm going to call you SZA this entire episode.
SZA. This is the worst.
Look, man, that's the name the streets gave you. You just got to embrace it, all right?
I guess.
Okay, intro and new patron welcome aside, let's talk about the Allreds. If you're listening and you're not familiar with Mike and Laura Allred, no worries. That won't stop you from enjoying this episode at all. But it might be helpful to hop on over to Google and do a quick image search just to have a visual aid. Cesar, will you start us off with an introduction for the newcomers? Tell us what the Allreds are known for.
So, like you said, if you're not really familiar with these people, Mike Allred is a multi-award-winning comic book artist, and he's really more or less famous for his independent creations, like Madman. iZombie was, put out by DC. And
Vertigo, specifically.
Right, specifically Vertigo. Thank you, Ed. He's also received an infinite amount of recognition and praise for his work on DC's Batman 66, namely the covers. You might know his work from Marvel's Ecstatics, Silver Surfer, and his series with the Fantastic Four. There's a lot more. I mean, like, if you're familiar with the movie Chasing Amy, he makes a cameo, and it's probably my favorite Mike Allred appearance. He's like literally like within the first 5 minutes of the movie, you'll see him.
He's like Chow Yun Fat. I never thought of him as Madman.
Right. He's like, I love Chow Yun Fat too, but I don't know if he's I don't really see him as Madman. It's perfect. He plays himself at the convention scene, as we're all familiar with. So, but he doesn't share this recognition alone. He shares it with the lovely lady by his side, who is also a very talented artist in her own right. Laura Allred. She's a skilled colorist, and she's known basically for working with her husband. And Botter more or less started talking about all those statistics regarding divorce. Those are real things. And as lighthearted as we keep it, comics are tough. Even if you're a mainstream comic book artist, regardless of what you do, writer, penciler, colorist, inker, it's difficult, even for the mainstream. So for both of these, for this power couple, if you will, to have stayed together in the indie scene, and then while they were cutting their teeth, push through and make it towards where, people like Adam West are introducing them as my official artist for Batman.
Wow, that's awesome.
It says something, it's a nice thing to see, a couple like this produce art and it not affect how they feel about their, they got a passion for what they do and a passion for each other. So I think that's a pretty good overview.
Thank you. I agree. Absolutely. Ashley, how familiar are you with the Allreds? Have they been on your radar for a while?
I think I saw it at the comic shop and it stood out. I think it was one of those Silver Surfer covers where it stood out the way that it looked among all the other Marvel art in there. It stood out because it had this like pop art, like Liechtenstein look to it. But then it also was like so clean and modern that it kind of looked like the future of comic art too. Like it just had such a timeless feel to it. The first time I saw it, it like literally just stopped me in my tracks, and I was like, what is this like clean, beautiful piece of artwork that I'm just walking by that nobody's told me about?
Damn, I don't think I've ever heard you describe an artist quite so flowery and elegantly.
It was a big day for me.
I have it on the calendar. We celebrate.
There's Christmas and then there's Mike Allred Day.
You guys can relate to this because, you're married to an artist as well. You're both artists. Mm-hmm. So just the fact that having two creatives work together and be married together, more or less just the regular statistics of being married, because I always joke around with my friends. It's like, don't date an artist. It's like, they're the worst. Don't date them. Hearing the few interviews they give, they're still crazy about each other as grandparents at this point. It's crazy. And just the fact that their work evolved and the fact that they haven't split, creatively. Bands don't stay together this long. What right. creative group stays together this long? And the fact that you're living together too, on top of that, that's another form of stress. It's just, it's crazy. It's just they're a model, that I've never seen.
I wonder how much of like that privacy factor plays into them, like, maybe the longevity of their professional and just personal relationship. The fact that they're not, in the public eye. We brought up Frank Miller and Lynn Varley. Their situation was definitely a point of topic at some point, right? Like it was rocky. It was like people knew what was a little bit of what was going on behind the scenes.
And I think that's why Mike Allred can kind of have both indie cred and mainstream cred. That's why he's worked for Marvel, DC, no issues. You never hear, he's not rattling cages like some of these guys do for good or for bad, so just listening to him now, it's like he just loves to draw comics.
Right.
And that's what he wants to do. And Laura loves working with him, loves the whole process. And they basically like seeing each other happy. And it's crazy. And I can't relate to that. But like I said, it's just a,
It's definitely an outlier.
yeah. Because like I said, he's not like a Todd McFarlane or like the Image guys that are, going around stomping hard and making noise. He's just head down doing all the work he can do.
He's a nice Mormon boy.
Nice Mormon. He did the Book of Mormon.
The golden plates.
Yeah, the golden plates. Yeah.
Oh, I own it. I'm aware.
So he convinced me to give that a read as well, and I thought that was pretty interesting stuff, to say the very least. I read Madman for the first time during my research process. I read like the first series, like the
OG, where his mask is still kind of all the way over his head.
I think 1993 black and white. What was the name of the Tundra Publishing?
Oh, Kevin Eastman's
or something like that.
Charity kind of label.
That's a story.
I've seen that character around many times. Like I've just seen him around in like Dark Horse anthologies. I think he had a team of like Superman at some point. Like I've seen that character around a lot, and I didn't know that was an original creation. Hell, I mean, I didn't know that Mike and Laura were responsible for this many original characters. Madman, iZombie, the Atomics,
yeah.
the Atomics,
The art for Blunt Man and Chronic in Chasing Amy.
That's another one too.
And in Mallrats, the opening credits.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, they've been around a lot in several like pockets, like the indie pocket, the mainstream, even doing like license work, like the David Bowie stuff that C had said.
Everywhere you fear to tread, Vodder.
Whatever, man. I'm in these streets, all right? I'm in these comic book streets nowadays.
Okay, all right.
Ed, how would you personally describe like their style and their artwork?
Super clean. He is probably one of the best brush inkers I've seen, and his figure work is incredible. Like the people. And the thing with having a clean style is images can look static or, kind of boring, sometimes, but his figures are always in crazy poses. They're not hardly ever just standing straight, but it has that 50s, 60s kind of, commercial art, comic art, like Ashley said, Lichtenstein sensibilities. And I know they both love, just reading interviews, they both love using flat colors. So like I said, and I always like that because it doesn't fight with the inking. Deceptively simple, but super clean. I found out how they do their process. Basically, they ink the original scanned lines, and then he takes the artwork. And this is a good benefit of living together when doing this. So she scans the original ink lines. And then he goes back and does like washes and things like that, gives it more rendering. And then they scan that. And so she has those black ink lines that she can lay on top of that texture created by the washes. So you don't lose that black line, that nice black line, but you also can use flat colors, and like the texture of those techniques adds more depth to those colors. So you're not using a lot of, they want to make it look as non-computer looking as possible. Cause like I said, they were coloring, pre-digital era too. So they've been around that long.
I was watching some interviews with him, and he said that he's lost count of times that people have come up to him and his wife and said how cartoony their art looks. And as a result, he made sure his fundamentals were really good, and that he said, you will be hard pressed to find my anatomy is wrong. He's like, I challenge you, like you say, I want to make sure my anatomy is on point. So that way, okay, I don't get cartoony, I'm trying to do Kirby, but okay, cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it is something where, like, I don't want to sound like high and mighty, but like to the untrained eye, it does look cartoony.
Sure.
Because of how simple it is. But then you look into it and you're like, every single line could not be moved a millimeter or else it wouldn't look right. And I think that's what's so great about his artwork, is that it can be simple. And like Ed said, it's not flat. If anything, it's like completely like full of energy with just simple lines and like flat colors, which I don't know. I can't think of anyone else that can do it like he does it and like she does it.
Maybe there's someone listening that isn't quite familiar with like the process between the artist and the colorist. And as someone like that, you kind of walk in both worlds as both the artist and the colorist. Like, what is the normal process between a comic artist and the colorist? Like, how does that work how does like that direction or input get shared?
Yo, this is Botter. Sorry for interrupting this episode, but I'll keep it brief. I wanted to let you know about a massive sale we have going on over at the Shortbox store on all of our merchandise and apparel. That's theshortboxstore.bigcartel.com. You can now save 20% off your entire order using the discount code YOO, Y-O-O. So if you've been waiting for the right time to finally buy that gauntlet snapback, or if you ever wanted to buy any of the shirts you see me wear on the podcast, well, now's your chance to get them for a steal. We still have a few sizes left of everything, but they won't last long, and once they're gone, they are gone. And then I mentioned that all of our apparel is screen printed on high quality material. None of that heat transfer or direct to garment stuff. Our shirts are some of the most comfortable ones you'll ever wear, and the hats look even better in person. So wear your support for the Shortbox Nation proudly, knowing that you're going to look damn good doing it. Get to theshortboxstore.bigcartel.com as soon as you can, and don't forget to use that discount code YOO, Y-O-O, to save 20% off your entire order. All of this information can be found in this episode's show notes if you want to get there faster. Thanks for not pressing fast forward. Now back to the show.
So pretty much when they send you over the inks, a lot of times there's like no color palette, no nothing. They'll just send you a bunch of stuff that they like. And so you have to figure out, what works best for the story versus, what the artist likes. And then you do your best and show it to them. And they either say, hey, you see my vision, or else they say, this is garbage. Like, let's like keep going and like figure this out. So I think at this point, she knows what he likes. Like, I feel like there's very few times where she has to go back and like change something.
Yeah, well, there's that trust too. And he's colorblind to an extent.
Oh, wow.
So he has to trust her. And basically, when he was getting into comics, she was working, I believe, in the jewelry as a jeweler. So she was working while he was kind of getting into the industry. But Laura, she's been a painter since she was a kid. So and they both went to art school.
That's cute.
Yeah. So, he was doing black and white stuff, and she kind of jokes like, "Oh, tell you what, if it's like," and she was like, "I was working full time with kids. I don't have time to do painting. I'm exhausted." And it's like, well, you should keep doing your art. You went to school for art. You should at least have some time to do it. It's like, well, I'll tell you what, you start doing color comics, I'll color your work. It's kind of like a bet. And that's how it started.
That's funny.
I had read somewhere where Laura was describing having been with Mike so long that he's inundated her with, I think she said like European comic books, like pop art, like everything that he likes and the influences that he's trying to, pay homage to. She's been inundated with that, and that's like, so she's got a lot of his like perspective and influences in mind when she's creating.
Yeah, and she's, like I said, she has that painter's eye too. You have a sense of color when you've been painting that long, and she grew up, reading like Archie and Mad magazines that have some of the sensibilities, like especially like Archie stuff. They kind of have the same kind of color sensibilities that he's looking for.
Right.
I thought it was cool that a lot of her influences from a coloring perspective comes more so from like animation and classically trained artists. I think actually we might have read the same interview, but did you get to the part where she was sharing like her influences and it was all like traditional art? Like there was no comic book artist or colorist, fellow colorist in that list. It was all like, look, I like animators, I like these classic pop artists and surrealists. Dali was among one of them, among others. Did you get to that part?
Yeah, I did. And that was really interesting because I scanned it and I was like, oh, these are all like, like old school, like you go to the gallery and they're in oil paintings with like frames around them. Like there's not one comic artist in this group.
That's art school. You're going to learn to like these people and appreciate them.
Good art isn't influenced by the media it is trying to create. It's influenced by other things, right? It's refreshing to see that that's consistent with good art, that, you have to go outside of what people expect. Actually, it totally makes sense that Laura's into Dali, and that she's, when asked about like, well, what are your influences? Did you look up who Jim Lee's colorist is? And what are that? It's like, nah, I kind of like shit outside of where I'm working, because if it's all cannibalized, it's not going to be fresh. Daughter died. Okay, hey guys,
I wasn't sure if he had
welcome back.
I wasn't sure if he had another point to it, but I wanted to actually mention some of the artists she listed, just for anyone who might be an art buff listening in. But she mentioned artists like Hopper, Dali, Matisse, Monet, Klimt. I think was the other
Talk
one.
dirty to me.
Gustav Klimt.
Yeah, so as you can tell, like, very classical artist, which is interesting because, and of course, this is my own personal view on it, and maybe you guys, feel free to call me crazy, but anytime I look at crazy, okay, got it. It was much quicker than I thought it was going to be. But I've always felt when I look at
why you're crazy.
No. When I look at their work together, I get MTV like liquid television animated vibes. Like
it's 90s.
It makes me think like Aeon Flux and what was it, Daria? Daria, thank you so much. Daria. Like how flat
those were
it is.
all independent artists who were, that was kind of the thing, right? Like, damn it, Potter, why did you fucking Potter?
Come on, old guys.
He's
Come
tricking
on, old
us,
guys.
Ed, he's tricking us.
That's
He's
the
trying
old
to
guy
get us to
lure
talk
right there.
about. He's trying to get us to talk about animation.
Talk
in
about the
80s,
90s.
how it led to the 90s. It's not. Don't you do that? No. That's an episode unto itself. But yes, it's all connected. Ralph Bakshi, punk rock 2D animation, Gendy Tartakovsky, Craig McCracken. They all have roots in the same sort of, I'm tired of this, but I like pop culture.
Yeah. And I guess my point at the end of the day is that if they were to ever, I feel like their style is so built for animation. I'm surprised that we haven't gotten. I think there was an iZombie. Was it an animated show?
No, it was
It's a
live action.
live
actual
action. Okay.
CW show.
Yeah.
Which is crazy thing. We haven't gotten an animated series or show based on any of their properties.
I know this
already.
is bad for audio, but have you guys seen this? Spaceman?
No.
AAA pop? So basically, it's Mike and Laura Allred, but they got a painter to do the background, so it looks like a cell shaded cartoon.
Could you put it up to the actual camera? Because I
For
can
our
barely
video
see it.
listeners? Yeah, I got it.
Oh, that shit looks sweet.
Yeah, so
Ooh.
inside's like that too. It's like an old Scooby Doo cartoon.
Oh, I
Yeah,
did.
like old Hanna-Barbera
So
cartoon.
awesome. Yeah, the painter is Lawrence Marvitt. So, like I said, they did this issue, and it's like there's something. It's like a total experience. And this is when he did independent publishing, his own label, the AAA Pop with Oni Press.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, but I'm just surprised that we haven't gotten like an animated show or series because their style is so built for it. Like the clean lines, the very flat colors. I think Mike is also really good at developing unique characters, whether they be aliens in like Silver Surfer or Madman, or just like unique expressions. Like I feel like if you like Dupe being a great example.
The
from
thing
X-Static.
too with like Madman, I know I think he just recently got the rights back maybe a few years ago because Universal optioned it for a movie in like 95.
Oh, weird.
And then Robert Rodriguez has been sitting on it for a while and never did it. So it's like, it's been kind of tied up. So now that he has it, maybe we'll get a cartoon. But the funny thing too with that is he introduced Frank Miller to Robert Rodriguez.
Oh, God,
and
that's
Robert
crazy.
Rodriguez was like, yeah, this will be, practice for Madman. We'll do this and then we'll do Madman. That didn't happen.
Actually, where was all this in the 90s? Where were you? Isn't this like on your radar?
No
Like, were you,
TV in the woods.
I think I was like in a tree reading books in the 90s.
Oh, books.
Honest to God, like
What a nerd.
I missed a lot of the 90s.
You didn't miss much.
I'm glad, Ed, you brought up television because I wanted to talk about specifically Mike in this case, but his giant love for Batman, specifically the 60s Adam West Batman. And, I bring that up and I'll toss it to you, C, because me and you had a conversation earlier this week about when I asked you what are some of your favorite Mike Allred stuff that I should be checking out. You were like, yo, Batman 66. I don't even think like you took a minute to breathe. It was Batman 66. And I was surprised that he only did the covers, and I was expecting like full interiors. Because when we talk about Mike Allred, I'll say that dude is an interior artist, all the way through. He does it all. But in this case, his work was specifically tied to the covers, which is something he's very proud of. And I got to admit, even though, I didn't get 22 pages of full Mike and Laura artwork, I was
You're not gonna.
really
You're
impressed.
not gonna.
I was
man.
really
They're big
impressed.
time now, baby. They're big
It's
time,
true,
yo.
true.
They like to sit beside the scenes and watch the green come in. Know what I'm saying, man?
But even though, as funny as that is, for as big as they are, they definitely don't shy away from the challenge of doing a monthly title. I mean, hell,
They're doing one now.
They're doing it right now.
The Excellence.
With Excellent, which was really funny. But I digress. Batman 66. See, why was that why is that revered so highly by you? And why do you think that's some of Mike and Laura's best work?
I think it's a reflection of what he is as an artist. So I was watching a bunch of interviews to prepare for this, and one of the things I heard him say is he says, nostalgia gets thrown around a lot when people refer to my work, and he says I have to be really careful with that word because I don't really see it as nostalgia so much as what I try to do with my artwork is try to recreate just one singular moment, because most people, if they're being honest, they'll want to relive at least one point in their life when they were kids, at least one more time, or at least multiple times, and have that same feeling. He says, it's not the same thing as nostalgia. He says, what I wanted to do is, recreate that sort of feeling as far as the art is concerned for Batman 66. And he has countless stories where him and his brother Lee would run around with plastic Halloween mask pulled down and capes going na 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 na, all that stuff. And he he finally got a chance to put I guess both him and his wife got a chance to put their talents to task for DC and create amazing covers, not just for Batman 66. There's a very famous DC solo issue where Batman's doing the Bat-2C.
Oh, yeah.
And it got Adam West's attention, and he wanted to meet Adam West, and it was at at the convention circuit, and I think it was at San Diego Comic-Con, and Laura's like, "You're going to go meet him?" And he's like, I want to have a perfect picture in my brain of this guy. I don't want to ruin it.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, I'll meet him. So she goes, and then she comes back to him and she's like, he was really nice. And he's like, damn it, but eventually they end up meeting, and he's like, oh yeah, I'm the guy that drew this. And then Adam West was over the moon, and he got to meet Burt Ward, and he was like, hey, come on, I want to introduce you to Julie Newmar, Catwoman. And then he's like, hey, you want to sit in the Batmobile? And, Mike Allred's head is exploding at this point. So the fact that he's able to, with the love of his life, share in these sort of memories and basically do tributes to different things, just like James Bond posters and, silly stuff like actual Batman dancing. It's charming. It's delightful. It's cute. And I think that's kind of why I like it. 'Cause after hearing him talk about it, 'cause, when you see the covers, you're like, duh, it's a no-brainer. Get Mike Allred. He's the guy. You want the pop art dude. He is the pop art dude. But not only is he that guy, it's him and his wife, and they both sort of share this sort of experience of trying to infuse their energy from a perspective of genuine concern and love for the genre, right? Not just, comics, but a TV show that was, still considered a watershed as far as comedy is concerned.
And it's a lot of people's first Batman experience.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, those covers stand on their own. You wish you would had the whole book illustrated by them, but those covers just stand on their own. So they're statement pieces.
To your point, Botter, Mondo has been putting out those 66 covers as 27 by 36 posters you can buy.
Damn. And I believe that run ran for 30 plus issues. I know Mike and Laura did the last issue. They did illustrate the full last issue with their brother Lee, which I do want to bring up that, they keep it in the family. Lee Allred being Mike Allred's older brother, and I believe the reason he got into comic books, or at least a big,
did you hear the story about how he got introduced to comics by Lee?
No, I hit it.
So this has been on 2 interviews, and one with Lee there to verify it. So he said he remembers when they were both little, and I don't know the age difference, but like I said, I guess Lee had him dance on this table,
and
dance faster, and then the next thing like Mike remembers is waking up in the hospital, but the whole bed was covered in comics and like Lee looking guilty at the end of the bed.
Like they're just little kids playing.
Yeah.
He's like, yo, dance on. He goes, dance boy.
harder, dance
But
harder.
Yeah.
he gives him so much credit because like Lee had, even as a kid, he had good taste. And like back then, you know, they didn't have comic stores. No, direct market was nowhere near being a thing.
Right.
So basically the parents would go to the drugstore, the grocery store, grab them a bunch of comics to keep them quiet on those road trips, you know? Yeah. And Lee would get, you know, basically kind of got all the Kirby stuff, and like they loved the Forager Bug from the New Gods.
Forager
So
Bug,
that was
yeah.
like a character they both kind of bonded over, and ended up doing a series by Young Animal a couple years ago, which is awesome.
Now I can't stop thinking about the Sly and the Family Stone song, Family Affair. It's a family affair. And it sounds like Mike shares a lot of the same stories. Because I barely remember that one, but have you heard the one where he actually talks about meeting his wife? He seen her at a bus stop. No, he was coming on a bus, and either she was getting off or coming on as well, but he was so entranced by how beautiful she was. And he was on the bus like, I really should have gotten off this bus to go say something to her. He gets back to his dorm. He hears a knocking on the door, and it's this girl and Laura also there together. And the girl was looking for Mike's roommate. She had like left over some records or something like that. She was there to pick him up. But he convinces Laura like, hey, do you want to go for a walk? And they go for a walk. And that's really like the end of it. They were inseparable, and they got married very shortly after that. I thought that was a very sweet thing.
For Mormons, that's some spicy stuff. Okay? That's some real spicy stuff. So, you know, just put that in your pipe and smoke it.
It's very beautiful to see like how inseparable
Yeah.
they've been in all aspects
cute.
of their life.
Two
you know?
interviews, he has made her cry. Just
Oh,
how being how
that's-
sweet he was. She cries like in two separate
He's a
occasions.
smoothie, definitely.
I think you said
smoothie.
it. I think you said it earlier, Ed, where it's like their love is still very apparent. Like it's energetic. Like you can't. It's kind of like contagious. Like just the love and energy they have between the two, and it's awesome that it shows and it translates in the body of work too. You know, like they really are. You know, at the end of the day, very unique. Like their brand of comic style is like Ashley said. Like I still think that we haven't quite seen someone that could mimic that or really like tap into whatever they're tapping in together. And I got to say, maybe that uniqueness is because of, you know, the fact that they're a married couple that really share everything.
You see one of their pieces, you know exactly who it is. You know, it's like
without a doubt,
and
without a
there's-
doubt. Well
and
said.
it's, I don't know if the craft is too intimidating, but I have not seen anybody try to ape that style or even attempt to, you know, like, because, you know, in the 90s, you know, okay, everybody started drawing like Liefeld and Lee and McFarlane, and, you know, like all the Neil Adams had the branches of influence of different artists, and Kirby, and you look at them, you see the influence, you see Kirby, you see like the Hernandez brothers, you know, but it's uniquely their own, you know, and it's, you look at their work and it's like, oh yeah, that's the Allreds.
and I firmly believe both of them, you know, established, successful, highly talented artists, right? Like Mike, fantastic draftsman, pencil work, all that. Laura, respectable colorist. Like they could stand on their own, and they do. But, you know, as we've kind of come to figure out so far from what we've shared, like the occurrences of them working separately or not having worked together is very rare. I think you can probably count on one hand how many projects or comics that Mike has done without Laura, and that's very little. So it kind of goes to show that, like, you know,
It's a package deal, guys. You hire me, Laura's.
That's the way it is. You got to look out for your partner in crime, your freaking ride or die, you know?
In addition to a very unique art style that I think stands out on its own and is, you know, like a signature style, like the Allred style, I think he's also very savvy and smart when it comes to picking his assignments. In addition to a unique style, you're also getting like a different, what I feel like a very unique approach to like superhero comics. And you know, I'm looking just kind of specifically at his Marvel stuff where he's come into like X-Force, created X-Static, and then even like his recent stuff like Silver Surfer and like that short run FF series he did with Matt Fraction, where all of them are kind of dealing like, you know, like he infuses, you know, between him and his writer, they're able to infuse like comedy, quirkiness to it.
Quirky's a good word for his style.
Like when you think about X-Force and then his transition to X-Static, he was covering before the boys really kind of honed in on it, you know, his ecstatic stuff was dealing with superheroes and media, corporate world, you know, tackling things about like
characters
groupies.
dying every issue.
Yeah, Hollywood agents, contracts, addiction, racism, and death. Like
what should my name be? Is like, is this marketable? Like the crazy stuff like that.
That's what I like about like when you go into an Allred. Like if you see the Allred's names attached to a comic book, I think it's safe to say that you are also going to get a unique story that kind of fits the visuals, you know, like that kind of wacky, quirky pop art. Like you're going to also, you know, feel that evoked in the story itself.
He's even said, it's like, I have this specific skill set that, you know, people will offer me things. Because I think the Silver Surfer, they offered him that. It's like, do you want to do Silver Surfer with Dan Slott? It's like, are you kidding me? It's like, heck yeah.
For that series, he was considered a collaborator. It wasn't just, you know, credited as artist, but like co-collaborator. Like he was working very closely with Dan Slott.
Between like him and his brother, they have like pretty in-depth Kirby knowledge. So he definitely brings something to the table, them and Fantastic Four.
What would be your personal recommendations for someone that's listening? Is like, okay, they sold me on Mike and Laura Allred. Where do I got to dive in? What would you personally recommend?
Just because it's new, and I think there's only 3 issues out. There could be more, but the Excellent book that's out right now, like they really do as a team just get better. And like this book is just crammed with characters, like absolutely crammed with characters. Yeah, like everything in the front is just as detailed as like all the little characters in the back. Like it's insane. It's so good. And it's funny too.
If you're reading any of his ecstatic or excellent stuff, I'm telling you now, Laura's colors are so bright and they pop and just jump off the page. You don't even if you're reading it on an iPad, you don't need no other lights in the house because that comic book will illuminate your whole house. Like I was reading it in bed and it's like just I had it at the lowest display setting possible and her colors still managed to just.
You had it at the low display setting possible and someone from down the street was like, shh. I didn't even make a sound. The colors are so loud that like if people down the street hear them.
I had no lights on and my JEA bill was still going through the roof because their colors are so high. Yeah, it's great stuff. See, what about you, man? What would you recommend for anyone that wants to jump down a Mike and Laura Allred like rabbit hole? Where do they need to stop?
This is. I'm sure you guys have hit all the good stuff already, but I'm going to tell you one that's not main. The Golden Plates. I'm going to tell you this. They are. Mike has said it in the past. They're both Mormon, and they feel very passionate about their beliefs, so much so that they created a adaptation of select stories from the Book of Mormon, and they called it On Golden Plates, or The Golden Plates. And look, I by no means am a Mormon, nor do I subscribe to the ideologies of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. A bunch I don't. However, they're from an art perspective, that book is beautiful and it's really cool to look at. And it's neat to see what goes on inside somebody's mind when they're like, look, yeah, I look, here's what I'm invested in comic book wise. You guys know I like Jack Kirby. You guys know I love Batman. But here's a little something you didn't know. I'm a devout Mormon and this is another passion of mine. And you can see like in the artwork, it's got that same sort of weird frenetic energy that, like Ed said, like nobody's aped their styles. So, I mean, it's like they're like the ODB of freaking comics. There ain't no father to their style. Like no one's going to freaking do it. They came to bring the pain, one to the brain, took one for the dream and the team, just like Malcolm X, bro. Anyway.
Well said.
The Golden Plates, I highly recommend. You can get it on Amazon in a trade. It's just so bonkers. It's so bizarre and weird. And before you talk shit about Mormons, man, I'll say what you want. They're good at taking it on the chin, man. You could be like, yo, you're fucking crazy. And they'll be like, well, sorry you feel that way. You know, and they'll just move on, yo. Like you wouldn't, without Mormons, you wouldn't have Battlestar Galactica. I'll just say that.
And I'll go ahead and embrace that too, because that was a recommendation C gave me. And at first I was like, I'm not reading a comic book about the Book of Mormon. And I ended up reading the first issue, and I got to say,
Now you got a tie, you got a little white shirt, you're talking on people, knocking on doors.
Yeah, it was an interesting read. They're bringing their best foot forward because this is a subject matter that means so much for them.
Sure.
And it's fantastic artistically wise. Like it is a beautiful book, and it just goes to show that the range that, Mike and Laura have. They can draw they can hang with the best X-Men artists. They can draw, a quirky superhero commentary, with X-Static. They can create their own independent, characters with Madman the Atomics. And they can also draw the best damn biblical, icons in the game, baby.
Extra biblical, but okay, yeah.
Well, they added a little flair to it. They took it to an 11. But I'll go ahead and recommend anyone to check out their creator-owned body of work, because it is really impressive that, they've hung out with the big dogs and the big two, and at the same time they made a name with creator-owned properties, that are well-respected among, like the most hardcore, stick their nose up to any comic book crowd.
And imagine like getting invited to join that Legend imprint with like Frank Miller, Mike Mignola, those guys, or John Byrne. Like those guys are established artists, and they just have this guy come into that group. That's wild.
I'll say check out Madman Volume 1. I think it's available to read for free if you have a Comixology Unlimited subscription. And it's fantastic. Even the black and white stuff. But I just got to the color stuff. When Laura hops, when they do the fusion, when the Allreds fusion dance, it's a wrap. Like I said, Mike and Laura can stand on their own, but why would you want them to stand on their own when they are, godly together? No pun intended. Ed, what about you, man? What are you going to recommend?
I'm going to recommend just the usual suspects, I guess. I really like iZombie, but recently I picked up Bug, which is their Lee and Michael and Laura's tribute to Kirby. And it's a Young Animal imprint, and like I said, when he was talking about pitching this to Young Animal, basically like every pitch involved the Forager, the Bug somehow. Basically, this is like a tribute to Kirby, and it also wraps up some of Kirby's stories that never got an ending. Like they did a story where the dead man was trapped in a robot body, and there's a Kirby thing that like he didn't get to finish because he departed DC. It's really very surreal, very cool. Like I said, you get to see a little bit of the Fourth World stuff. Unfortunately, DC has this weird thing about like multiple people doing Fourth World stuff. Like Tom King was doing his Miracle Man run, so we get some of this stuff, but man, I'd love to see more Barda and, Darkseid and all those guys. But you get to see them kind of in flashback, so they kind of worked around it. But awesome tribute to Kirby. Like I said, it came out 2018.
Maybe they didn't trust Gerard Way.
Bum, bum, bum. Ashley, isn't Gerard Way your homeboy?
Oh, are you homeboys with Gerard Way from My Chemical Romance?
No.
Look, you look at him in the music video for the Black Parade, and then you see him when he's doing the Young Animal stuff. I'm not going to try and shame anybody, but he looks like Bill Gaines the later years.
He's, can't look like that forever. So
I like how...
I'm just saying.
As long as he's not still wearing the band leader outfit.
Dude, no, he's got like a hoodie on. And he's got like this long hair, and he's got scraggly looking beard. Like he went full on like Baby Moore.
Real quick, I want to highlight how Ashley looked at me in straight disgust when I jokingly said, "Is Gerard Way your homeboy?"
She's like, ugh.
Meanwhile, we've said, I don't know, Denzel Washington, Alan Moore, every name under the sun as her homeboy, and she's never flinched. But Gerard Way
cross the line,
gets a visceral reaction from her.
Just the whole aura of him and his like followers. It's too much.
So sometimes the fandoms will ruin a creator for you. I feel like. Well, listen, Short Box Nation, the goal of these artist spotlights, like I always say, is to celebrate and highlight the careers of comic book creators who deserve that spotlight. These are people that we feel deserve their flowers. And, whether you came in unfamiliar with Mike and Laura Allred or there was room for improvement as far as your knowledge base, hopefully we've helped in that journey. And we'd love to hear if you end up taking any of our recommendations, or if you do your own deep dive of Mike and Laura Allred and learn something new that we didn't mention, man, we'd love to hear that. Hit us up about that. On the topic of exemplary comic artists worthy of a following, there are plenty of comic legends still going strong in the industry today, including Mike and Laura Allred. Let's move on to our next segment and spotlight some new comic releases hitting stores next month. Let's go to prepare for a fistful of new comics.
can either have a mouthful of tea or a fistful of comics.
Why did I put that whip noise in there? What is it? What is being slapped?
It's a Western.
It sounds weird.
Slapping
horse,
some ass. That's what's doing.
Yo,
It's a bullwhip.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, to be honest, I think I gave Cesar the direction of going a Western theme, but I
Yeah,
have no idea.
it's a
man.
Western.
You know, he killed.
Look, first person you got to resurrect is yourself.
It's like rawhide.
Thank you, MC SZA. Words of wisdom once again.
I'm telling you.
For the love of God, stop. Anyways, Fistful of Comics is a part of the show dedicated to all you Wednesday warriors who loyally frequent your local comic shops every week, as well as newbies looking for a little help and direction on how to spend all that hard-earned cash on only the best new titles. This segment is brought to you by Ben Kingsbury, owner of Gotham
Kingsbury.
City. Thank you. I was waiting on that. Thank you. A little late on that one. See, let's get a little better. All right, you got to get a time.
Hey, man. Oh, I'm sorry. I was trying to keep my daughter alive at 2:30. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. You can't use my little niece as an excuse every damn time, all right? My little guy.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Butter, did your feelings get hurt?
What was I saying? Segment brought to you by Ben Kingsbury, owner of Gotham City Limit, Jacksonville's premier shop for comics, toys, collectibles, and more. And what better person to be recommending comics than a man that owns his own comic shop? Ben has curated this week's list of top 3 new comics coming out next month worthy of your time and your money. So let's go and cue up the music and go through this list together. First up on his list is a mini-series from Marvel. It's Iron Cat number 1 of 5. It's written by Jed McKay and art by Pere Perez. Hope I'm saying that right. This comic
doesn't
proves... Yeah. We're going to keep it moving anyways. This comic proves that Iron Man is essentially the Oprah Winfrey of the Marvel Universe because he seems to be giving out armors to any and everybody.
You get a mark. You get a mark. You get a mark.
Including criminals like Black Cat. Even she gets one. I'll let Ben tell it, though, right? Let's hear what he's got to say about this comic here.
Iron Cat number 1, the first part of a 5-part series. The Iron Cat suit made its first appearance in Black Cat number 11. And we all know girls just want to have fun, but narcissist Tony Stark was having none of that and took his suit back from Felicia Harding. Now the Iron Cat suit is back, and we don't know who's in it. Tony Stark and Felicia are going to have to deal with the consequences of their past. And again, it's just a nice reminder. Life has to be lived forward, but can only be understood backwards.
Ooh, I didn't know that we had 2 poets on the show today. MC System might have a run for his money.
No, man. It's all love. Word is bond, Ben. Word is bond. Yo, peace to all the gods of the earth, son.
MC Kingsbury out here.
Kingsbury, keeping it real.
All right, so that was Iron Cat number 1. That comes out June 29th. Next up on his list is from Dark Horse Comics, all right? It's a Hellboy one-shot called Hellboy in the BPRD Old Man Whittier. It's written by Hellboy's daddy, Mike Mignola, with art by Gabriel Hernandez Walter. Let's go ahead and hear from Ben on this one.
Hellboy and the BPRD is back with the Old Man Whittier one-shot from Dark Horse Comics, written by the creator of Hellboy, Mike Mignola. What's the plot? Why do you need this story? Who cares? It's literally written by a legend. And as an added bonus, Mike Mignola did a B variant cover. So Hellboy, Mike Mignola. Hopefully we set a Guinness Book of World Records for saying Mike Mignola in 30 seconds. Add it to your pull list.
That Hellboy comic comes out June 22nd and also arriving in shops June 22nd. And carrying on the tradition of recent Image anniversary reissues is Spawn number 1, the 30th anniversary blank sketch cover, which will count as the first time Spawn has I guess, ever been reissued with a blank sketch cover. So let's hear the logic behind this one from Ben. See, please put your boner away, all right?
Image Comics is doing a special reprint of Spawn number 1 as a 30th anniversary, and they're doing it as a blank for the first time ever. There's never been a Spawn number 1 blank. I'm assuming this is how you feel before you pick your first tattoo. What do I put on it? Which character do I get? What artist do I have design my cover? Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is up to you. You're going to have to make this life decision, but get your Spawn number 1 blank and have your own cover created.
Only comic book fans, especially you 90s old guys, would get hype over a a comic book with no art on the cover. Only fucking comic books could they repurpose an existing comic book that's been released thousands of times with no cover.
No, I'm not too excited.
Yeah, I'm not
I don't
excited
know.
about it.
Nah. Don't try to front now.
This thing sucked to draw.
Look. Don't look. We all love Ben, all right? But don't simp him now, okay? You threw us under the bus with that 90s shit.
A new Todd McFarlane cover. Maybe I'm interested.
Now, okay, there it is.
Yeah, now we're talking a little different. I wouldn't disrespect that. Actually, have you ever gotten a sketch cover like done by another artist? Or have you ever done a sketch cover yourself?
I used to do tons of them when I was doing all those comic book conventions.
Which one that stands out?
But I don't think.
Explain yourself, Ashley.
No, I think the Walking Dead, they used to do those blank covers, and I was working at the comic shop, I'd buy like 10 of them and take them to the conventions and just have people like tell me what they wanted and drew them.
Pregnant
man,
Sonic.
I made so much money off those.
What the fuck, Ed? I was like... You guys haven't seen that weird meme?
Oh, God.
Ashley, did you have to draw a pregnant Sonic? Or is Ed just a sicko?
I think Ed was there for my first commission. That was
The sexy hedgehog.
That's a whole story in itself, yeah.
What are some of the best sketch covers that you feel like you've personally drawn?
Oh, I did a Sandman one time that I was actually... It was another convention artist that has like super nice work, and he's like, "Can you do Sandman cover?" And I was like, "Dang!" So I got to make this look good. I think that's probably my favorite one.
That's cool.
I've done.
That's cool. Do you got a picture of it?
I do on my phone somewhere. I got to find it.
Right. Well, whenever you can, send it to me and I'll post it.
Okay, cool.
I used to always bring blank sketch covers to cons, thinking I was going to get it drawn, but then I seen the prices and I was like, you know what? This bitch is just meant to be a virgin for the rest of its life.
You would bring the sketch covers and then you'd be like, right as they're about to finish, you go, don't sign it, actually. Don't sign it. And then he just writes, Potter Milligan.
Wow.
Damn, I've been exposed by MC SZA of all people. Yeah,
Look
damn
who
it.
I did.
Y'all know the drill. Of those 3 selections that Ben has highlighted, once again, that was Iron Cat, number 1 of 5, Hellboy and BPRD, Old Man Whittier, and then this Spawn number 1 blank sketch cover. Which of these 3, which one gets your personal stamp of approval?
That's a no-brainer.
See, what is it?
Yeah.
What
That's
is
a no-brainer. It's the Hellboy. Come on.
Yeah.
It's only one issue too. One shot. That got me. One shot, done.
I totally wasn't gonna pick Iron Cats. Duh, it's Hellboy, right?
But it's stupid. It's stupid. Potter's like, Marvel, that's for lamos. Am I right, guys? Shakily brings his water bottle up.
Nah, yeah, that Hellboy. I mean, look, you can't go wrong with Mike Mignola driving the ship on that still.
Why are you crying? Why are you crying?
I don't know.
It's like one tear comes down in the shape of an M.
Oh, man. No, I'm sorry. I'm just still laughing at recovering from pregnant Sonic, of all things. That's just such a disturbing image in my head. All right. And that's the list we got for you today, Shortbox Nation, for this segment. If any of those pique your interest, you know what to do. Put them on your pull list or ask your local comic shops to order it for you. Big shout-outs to Ben and the Gotham City Limit Shop for the help this week. And remember, even if you don't live in Jax, you can still shop at the Limit by visiting their online store, which is linked in this episode's show notes, or you could shop their community marketplace for really good priced comic book, merchandise, and memorabilia on the Whatnot app. With that out the way, next up, we got some fan mail, which it kind of relates to the topic of conventions and kind of sketch covers a little bit. We got some fan mail in regards to that. And we'll also share our top entertainment picks for the week. But first, we'll go on a quick music break. I couldn't help but have Peyton Locke in the forefront of my mind this week, especially since the song we played on the George Perez Artist Spotlight episode from last week was a Willie Evans tribute to Peyton Locke. For those that don't know, Peyton Locke is was a fantastic hip-hop artist from our hometown here in Jacksonville, Florida, but he's gone on to do tours all around the world and well-respected around the world. He transitioned from this world in 2019, but earlier this year, his label, Full Plate, put out his first official posthumous album. It's called Americancer, the first of a pair of albums that Peyton actually left behind. And with the blessing of the label head himself, Dylan Maher, I'm going to play the lead single from the album in honor of Peyton Locke. This one is called Oodles of Nas. Stay tuned, and we'll be right back, all right?
It ain't much that I've switched since my last LP, which was an act of kindness, cause it was solely fueled by packs of rhyming. I'm noodles with the flow, so my payrolls episodes should be De La Soul, but still it's oodles and oodles of no's, you know. Yeah, it's more menial and meandering than meaningful. I mean, my crew used to be amazing. I forward past the failures, had these suckers pushing up azaleas. Semi-automatic, but the fully on lock. Touring cause my bank like a bully on the block. Cats hit me up to interview on how I injure fools with my ninja tools. Then I knock them.
And we're back, Shortbox Nation. Once again, the song you just heard was done by the late, great Peyton Locke. It's called Oodles of Nas off his first official posthumous album, Americancer. The album is available for streaming as well as purchase, including digital and physical copies like vinyl. I'll have a link to support in the show notes. Rest in peace to Peyton Locke, and a big shout out to the Full Plate family. Thank you guys so much for letting me play that. We got some emails to read, like I said, prior to going on break. One of them is all about con season. So I'm going to pass it over to our boy, MC SZA, to do the honors of sharing these emails. What we got, C?
Well, we got one from Trey Namo, friend of the show. His email is called MegaCon/vacation season. What up, Shortbox crew? It's basically summertime, so you know what that means. It's officially vacay and Comic-Con season. I'm currently taking some vacation days to go to MegaCon for the first time. Oh, a first timer. Okay.
Oh, boy.
As well as heading down to the Keys for a week. Hashtag ballin', LOL. Glasses emoji, crying, laughing emoji, champagne glass emoji.
Is there one with the dollar signs flying away?
No. Where's that one at?
Hey, you slacking, Trey. Come on.
With that being said, I'd love to hear some personal stories of cons y'all took vacation time to go to. Thanks for the awesome episodes lately. Also, congrats to C and his wife on welcoming their baby into the world. Heart emoji.
Another
Cheers.
Dollar flying away emoji.
Beers clinking emoji with a little heart. Yeah, that's like $500 sign emojis flying away. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. I really do.
That was part one of the email. So I had seen that email.
Correct.
You know, I sent him a text, said, hey, man, congrats on going to your first MegaCon. How about you email me afterwards? Because I would love to hear how the convention was. So he sent a follow-up email that I'd like C to get to.
Okay, here we go. This is the MegaCon recap 2022.
So I think a day apart is about it.
Yeah, so I would say like the first email is more or less a summer mixtape made by a fresh-faced young botter in high school who was listening to Drake and just in a really nice place.
A little before then, but okay.
This is
timeline a little off, but okay, I like it.
Botter, in my mind, you're perpetually 18, and you're still shaving your widow's peak.
Oh, what?
I don't want to hear it. All right, I'm not
There's
gonna.
pictures. There's pictures.
There's
Ed. There's
I got
pictures.
it. I got it. Stop exposing my personal life, right? There's bad mistakes
you got that
back in those
sweet
days.
lineup, bro. You had the sweet lineup.
Just read the goddamn email. Read the damn email, all right?
So this says MegaCon recap 2022. So first one, happy summer mixtape. This one, you're going to need like Immortal Technique playing in the background.
And some hard liquor.
So we just left MegaCon, and I can officially say I love the products they have at big cons, but I hate everything else involved. We got some killer deals on some sick art pieces. And Riley, my old lady, got some steals on some older Pokemon packs and other related things. But oh my God, everything else sucked. The ticket booths, the parking took 3 hours plus, even though we were an hour early.
Sounds about right.
The lanes in between the vendors were smaller than Botter's DC knowledge.
Whoa!
That was a good line. I'll admit, that was a good bar.
This guy's got bars, man.
That's a good one.
Days.
That's a good one.
And I think every friend group that came there all decided to block every lane we were walking down. Also, I got whacked in the face by a Doc Ock cosplayer tentacle and got yelled at for messing up her tentacle with my face. LOL. All in all, I'd have to give it a set. Well, I mean, it's Dr. Octopus. He's not a good guy, all right? She was in character, maybe. All in all, I'd have to give it a 7 out of 10 and would recommend. Just keep your head on the swivel when you're around cosplayers. Shout out to @Jed Thomas, @HandoverTheHero, and @Cowabunga Comics for the dope deals.
Good stuff.
Trey Namo.
Good stuff. Big shout outs to Kyle and Cowabunga Comics, too.
Cool.
I'm glad to hear that they were at MegaCon. Everything he described in that last email, it kind of gave me flashbacks. I was like, oh, so the alleyways between the tables are still narrow as hell, and there's congestion every single time.
PTSD flashbacks.
I had I was waiting in line with my friend to get Matt Fraction to sign something, and I don't know if I've told this story before, but just a very Amazonian like Wonder Woman cosplayer ran through the line and stepped on his foot and caught her heel on the top of his foot and broke his foot.
Oh, God. Jesus.
At Heroes all the way in Charlotte.
Oh, at
Damn.
Heroes? Wow.
Ed, have you ever taken any vacation time to hit up a MegaCon?
Not really vacation time. I remember getting my tax return, and I was like, I guess I'm going to MegaCon. Came right. It was like, I checked the ATM. I was like, going to MegaCon. So it was like a same day drive down, which was horrible because I thought Saturday shouldn't be too bad, like getting down to Orlando. It sucks every day of the week.
Because you got to get off, what's the main road, the exit you got to get off?
International Drive.
International Drive.
It was even before that. The traffic was bad, even getting into Orlando. I was like, what the F is going on? We actually had to walk. It was quicker to walk from our hotel to the convention center because the traffic was gridlocked. Because there was like 3 or 4 conventions going on because there's that cluster of convention centers there. So like the little, like the trolleys that come, they wouldn't even pull into that side lane to pick you up. They're just like, get in, like we're in war, get in. It's like, we're not pulling over because we won't be able to get back on the road because they have that little side thing, they wouldn't be able to get back in. And so she had to, take her heels off and hoof it to like a mile.
You have never felt more like a sardine until you go to MegaCon. And Ed, is actually kind of funny because MegaCon used to happen earlier, like during tax return season.
Yeah.
And that was my time to go, baby. Time to spend this money on shit I don't need. Because I used to stop like buying back issues like at the beginning of the year. Because then I started like my MegaCon list. Yeah. And before you used to be able to find a lot of like the comic books you wanted. Like it was more comic centric. But as it, really got popular and, the shift became more about movies and television
and
stars.
Anime.
Yeah, and anime and $500 autographs and $200 picture opportunities and all that. God. So, anyways, Trey, I'm glad that you still made the best of it, and thank you so much for that follow up email. We got one more email to read, and that's from our boy T-Mix. I figure why not save the best for last. See, what's he got to say today?
Sure. This is from our boy T-Mix. It says George Perez 2. Mispronunciation Boogaloo. And he writes, Yo! What up, Shortbox? I see how it is. You either email once and be the hero, or you email too often and see yourself become a villain. I guess it's time to hang it up.
No!
Anywho, I had recently been going through all of the Artist Spotlight episodes, as they are my absolute favorite, and it was great that y'all re-released the George Perez episode again. When it first came out, I went back and reread Crisis and Infinity Gauntlet, but this time around, I'm inspired to read his Teen Titans runs. Papi, that's how you do it.
Yeah, Papi.
Speaking, you shut up. That's our word. Speaking of which, maybe Young Justice could be a pilot's license episode, as I've often read it, that its humor feels more as if Teen Titans than its source material would, rather than the Young Justice comic series. First off, don't try and produce anything on this show ever again, teammates. You stay in your lane. You make light with the emails, all right? You keep the production to yourself. Thank you.
I think he just followed.
Thank you.
You're right. Sorry, Tim. I gotta take my side.
Thank you. He continues. Another chance to pay homage once again to the late great George Perez. Time for some champions. 1. Godzilla vs. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Issue 3 drops this week and has been a ton of fun to read. Big G has thrown down with both the Dragon Zord and the Megazord. I'm interested, yeah. 2, Jason Aaron's King Conan run. Haha, not anymore. I picked up issue 1 after recently replaying the Frazetta Spotlight. King Conan is my first Conan book, and it's been fantastic. Just masterful storytelling. Speaking of, a little bit of trivia for you, T-Mix. Robert E. Howard's very first Conan story is a story called The Phoenix on the Sword, and it's the first time Conan appears, he's already an old man. He's already a king of Aquilonia. So short, it's interesting. I recommend that. He goes, hasta la próxima, cabrones. E. Ashley. T-Mix.
Oh, so
P.S.
respectful.
Just kidding. I'll write to y'all next week. I can't let y'all off that easily. Ed, who never watched Cobra Kai. Keep it geeky.
Still haven't.
And there's your sign, your status update.
What the hell? A Bill
Dang,
Engvall
Ed.
reference?
Wait, Ashley, did you ever end
Hold
up
on, no,
watching?
no. We're not going to skate over that. I had
damn it.
no idea Potter was such a stand for the blue collar, the blue collar comedy tour.
VIP tickets.
You might be a redneck if your name is Potter Milligan.
I feel like he'd probably say, like, you might be a terrorist if your name is Potter. Damn it, no.
No, it just means you're a very, very well-to-do soccer player in France somewhere.
Thank you so much.
He's more of a Larry the Cable Guy.
Actually, I like I like the other guy that used to drink and smoke on stage. I can't.
No. You can't say everybody.
No,
Everybody likes Ron White. You can't say
Ron
that.
White was my dude.
You literally just said, "Here's your sign."
I know,
We know where your allegiance
because I knew
is
this
lie.
would evoke this joke out of you. And I like hearing your interpretation of the blue collar comedy tour. Anyways, Ashley, did you ever get around to watching what was it? What was she supposed to watch? Karate Kid, right?
Man, this guy's throwing a whole forest of shade right now.
Pretty good. I know. I think we're forgetting about the important thing, which is that Ed did not watch Cobra Kai.
True. Good way to deflect. Good way. We've taught you well. We've taught you well. No, she's deflected back to you.
Oh.
Anyways,
I don't even remember. I don't care about it so much.
look, T-Mix ain't letting that one go. T-Mix ain't letting that one go. We'll see. T-Mix, we'll see about getting you an update, and I'll see what I can do about doing a pilot's license episode on Young Justice. We'll see. We'll see if I can get it past,
It is good. It is good.
I wouldn't mind doing one on Young Justice. That'd be a pretty cool episode.
It's dark though, and it's super serious. That show
right up my
weighs
alley.
a lot of man. It weighs a lot when you watch it. You're like, oh god.
I've heard good things. All right, well, T-Mix, thank you so much for that email. Another big shout out to Trey and T-Mix for writing in. Those are our emails for today, Shortbox Nation. We'd love to have some more to read next episode. Right into the show by clicking the link in this episode's show notes, or writing a short email and sending it to our inbox at theshortboxjacks@gmail.com. While you do that, we're going to move on to our next segment and tell you about the best entertainment options we've personally enjoyed this week. It's time for our champion season. Champion Season is the part of the show where we highlight other worthwhile entertainment like movies, TV series, books, video games, and anything else we'd personally recommend to our friends, just like you and the rest of the Shortbox Nation.
Can I go first? I'm gonna have to bounce in a little bit, guys. I got to give the baby a bottle and relieve Sarah. So
Okay, go ahead and go first.
yeah. So I'm gonna tell you, I really liked Doctor Strange. I know you guys already kind of did a review, and I had to bug out because of spoilers. It was one of the few things I got to do with my wife while my parents got a chance to spend time with their granddaughter, and we felt like human beings again. We went into the movie theater, we had our popcorn, we're like, I'm
surprised y'all just didn't catch up on sleep in that like nice cold dark.
It
theater.
was so tempting, but that's a testament to the visual masterwork of Sam Raimi. So I'm going to champion Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, not because I'm a stand for the MCU. I'm a stand for Sam Raimi. So that's where I'm at.
Well, Sam,
And I love you guys. I will see you on the flip flop, as it were.
All right, peace out. MC says, I'm looking forward to the album, right? Peace and love to all the gods of the earth.
Yo, man, that's where it's at, man. I like you. I like the way you think, Potter. You finally come to you've embraced it. It took me like the whole show, but I'm like a fucking sip a cup of death when you're shaking
more
my
like
fucking right hand. I stab you with the left.
I like the Wu-Tang reference, but I was going to say you want
Who
like
said it? Who said it?
That would have been.
You know who. Think about it. Who's all about being crazy and killing people and shit?
Oh, fucking Ghostface.
ODB, bro.
You know, with that clue,
Out of all of them.
all of them. It could have been all of them.
That's true. You're right.
But I see what you mean, ODB. I was going to say you're more like, a festering, festering wart that I've just decided to live with instead of going to go seek medical attention. So
You know what, buddy? You're going to die alone. So I'll see you later.
I leave you with one last thing, Cesar. When
What's
you
up?
go to bed tonight, I want you to think Pregnant Sonic. All right? That's what I want you to go
God
sleep
damn
to.
it. Gross.
Peace
Ew.
out, C. Bye.
All right. Bye.
Ashley, I'm going to go to you. What are you going to champion this week?
I've got two things this week. So third season of Barry started a couple weeks ago.
Shit, it did.
It is so good. And if you like those like drama comedies where you just see a character just like unravel, it's perfect. And the episodes are so short. So I'm always like, I just want more, but it's so funny. I think it's one of my favorite shows, and I think we had to wait like 2 or 3 years in between seasons.
I can't recall if I'm confusing it for Atlanta. But I know Atlanta was like 4 years. I want to say Barry was almost just as long. But you're right. It's been a significant wait for season 3 to the point I kind of forgot about Barry.
Yeah.
But I'm looking forward to see, because the first 2 seasons, to your point, was like some of the best television I've ever watched. So you're saying season 3 like was worth the wait?
Oh yeah, it's so good. I think the 4th episode comes out tonight.
Oh, okay. I got plenty to catch up on. Good stuff.
Yeah. The other thing is it's called The Most Important Comic Book on Earth. It's like stories to save the world. It has like all these famous people that got together just to write short stories. And all the proceeds go to like all these really cool like wildlife federations and Greenpeace and stuff like that. So just a couple of the names are Ricky Gervais, Taika Waititi, Robert Kirkman, Cliff Chang, Alan Moore. I saw it at the comic shop and I was like, I gotta grab this. I mean, Taika Waititi's like one of my favorite people alive. Unfortunately, he has a 1-page story that he co-wrote with 2 other people.
Wow, that's a sweet gig.
So don't get it if you're just getting it for that. But there's just some really like beautiful stories in there, and it's a big book too. And it's only a $30 book, and this thing is thick. It's got like 340 pages in it.
Damn, that looks.
So I'd say it's worth it.
Yeah, this cover looks awesome. I'm looking at the cover right now. That looks really cool. All right, Ed, what about you, man? What are you going to champion today?
I'm going to champion. This isn't saving anybody. I'm going to champion the Midnight Pulp app. It's a streaming app of like a lot of B movies, anime, exploitation. They have streaming specific channels, but you can also pick. So if you ever wanted to see Bikini Bloodbath Car Wash, this is the app for you. Some nunsploitation, Ebola Rex, some crazy weird dinosaur movies. So pretty much all the weird bad trash cinema stuff is at your fingertips. There is like I said, a premium level, but there's a lot of free stuff on there too. So it's a pretty cool, fun app.
What's a B movie that you just finished watching on it?
I just watched this this anime movie called by Madhouse, which I love, called Hells, and it's about this girl. It's weird. It's hard to explain, but it's like a girl who dies going to school, like gets hit by a bus, and then wakes up in this hell high school type area. Then it goes into this weird Cain and Abel storyline, and it's so bizarre. Lots of crazy, really cool visuals. If you like any of the Madhouse anime stuff, I recommend it. It's a bit long, so I'd probably watch it in chunks. I think it was like episodic, and they just kind of put it all together, for a movie, because you can see where the cuts are for like breaks and stuff. But yeah, I just downloaded this a few days ago. So
that's a great app. They got an app for everything, man.
Yep.
All right, I got 2 champions. One kind of following along the lines of comic anthologies. The first one is Wizard the Comic Super Ultra Magazine #2. If you follow us on Instagram, you may have seen a video I posted where I was flipping through this book. But our friends over at Cosmic Lion Production, big shout outs to Eli Schwab, and the entire Cartoonist Kayfabe Ringside Seats Facebook community. They put out another volume of their Wizard and Cartoonist Kayfabe inspired comics anthology. The book is 420 pages, and that's equates to, I guess, almost like 5 pounds. The book is almost 5 pounds of just straight comic related insanity. They're advertising it as the ultimate giant size exaltation of comics, new and old. They've got interviews, write-ups, and original comics all done by the creators and indie creators and fans of comics. You can order one from the Cosmic Lion Production website for $35, but I'd highly recommend shelling out for the foil variant, which is just $10 more, but it looks great. And don't be surprised if we announce a giveaway for one very soon. I've already reached out to Eli and congratulated him on all the hard work. It looks great, man. Like, just the amount of respect that I have for Eli and that whole community and, the editors involved in this is immense. The fact that you are coordinating, taking in work, comic work and interviews and articles from all these different people from around the world, and making one anthology is definitely something to praise. So big shout outs to them, and definitely check out the Wizard magazine for yourself. The next thing I'll champion is a movie, and that is Ford versus Ferrari. I finally caught it on TV yesterday. It is a 2019 movie. It stars Christian Bale, Matt Damon, Katrina Balfe, and John Bernthal. It's directed by James Mangold, and it is based on a true story. You guys might have seen the trailers for it before, but the plot of the film takes place in the 60s, and it revolves around a team of American and British automobile engineers hired by Ford to design a race car that can defeat a Ferrari sports car at the 1966 24 Hours of Le Mans race in France. Matt Damon plays automotive designer Carroll Shelby, which we're probably all familiar with, especially with the Mustang, and Christian Bale plays British race car driver Ken Miles. You don't have to be a car fanatic or buff to enjoy the movie, even though it probably helps. But there's a lot of nuance and then character moments in addition to, watching fast cars race laps, even though that is really cool to watch. So if you can catch Ford versus Ferrari on TV, or I think it's streaming on Hulu and like YouTube, worth the watch, man. It kind of feels like The Martian, but for cars. So I had a good time watching that.
That's so strange.
Well, The Martian was like, very kind of like analytical, like very kind of like it portrayed like science in a rather like consumable way, right? Like what Matt Damon was doing on Mars in a very sexy, cool way. And I think they do that with Ford versus Ferrari, where it's like, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
It doesn't go over your head is what I'm getting at.
Okay.
But I guess at face value, it does sound like a weird comparison. But that's what I got to champion today. In Shortbox Nation, I invite you, if you got a killer champion that we should check out, share it with us, or tell us if you try any of the recommendations we shared today. We would love to hear your thoughts on what Mike and Laura Allred mean to you. If you're someone that's been following their career for years now, man, feel free to chime in. Maybe we missed something that you want to highlight right into the show by sending us a short email to our inbox at theshortboxjacks@gmail.com, and we'll read it next episode. You're also in luck, because as I wrap up, this will be the inaugural episode where we introduce a dedicated segment for our girl Ashley, all right? Going forward, the last segment of the show will be this brand new one that we're introducing today. It's called Ashley's Idea. And I got to figure out a cool sound bump or something to go here. These last couple episodes, I've tried to do like parting words and words of wisdom and really try to close out the show on a positive note, only to be shit on by Cesar and Ed, and they don't seem to enjoy the segment as much. But you know who does a great job at parting words and usually has the best words of wisdom is Ashley. I always enjoy your take and some of the comedy you get to insert to close this out. So Ashley, I'm going to turn it over to you. What are some parting words you want to give the listeners, or did you learn anything new that you want to share?
I just wanted to start by saying, if you met your spouse at work, I apologize for the beginning of the episode. It was kind of hard to hear. I did not know about all those statistics. The thing is, it's about like a very recognizable style and the two people that it took to make that style. So I think that this was definitely a very important episode because it shows that like you can make it. Like true love does exist, and it makes beautiful artwork.
Ashley, thank you so much for saving that. Like I think that's what I need to rename the show is Ashley saving the show from my very jarring intros. Thank you. You're like Shortbox PR. You know what? You are officially been promoted to become the Shortbox PR team. All right.
All right.
The job does not come with any benefits and no pay raises. So thank you so much for taking that on, that extra work on for free. All right, well, there you have it, Shortbox Nation. Thank you for hanging out with us this week, but it's time to close out the show. We'll actually be taking a real break these next 2 weeks. I got some vacation lined up, and I think we're definitely due just a little more, a little more downtime, right? But we'll be back later in June with some new episodes. One you'll want to come back for is a comic book spotlight, where our very own Ashley has picked out the comic. Ashley, do you want to share the theme of the next comic spotlight and the three options we'll be presenting to our patrons to pick from?
Yeah, so I just wanted to do some more, not big two comics, and I kind of was looking into like lady assassins, And there's been some pretty good stuff out. So the choices are Pretty Deadly, Sarah by TKO Comics, and Lady Killer.
Good choices. Good choice. I'm a big fan of a lot of those, but Sarah definitely piqued my interest when you sent that through. So, Lady Assassins will be the theme of next month's Comic Spotlight. Our Patreon subscribers will get to vote on those 3 topics, and one of them will be the subject of that episode. But if you can't wait that long to hear from us, we did drop a special bonus episode earlier this month called Comic Shop Stories Volume 1, which is all about Ed and Ashley's time working at a comic shop and them sharing the good, the bad, and the ugly side of working in comic retail. You can listen to that and all of our Patreon exclusive episodes when you sign up for our Patreon. Go to patreon.com/theshortbox and support the podcast for as little as $1. We'd appreciate it a lot, right? In the meantime, give us a follow on social media if you aren't following us already. But most importantly, take care of yourselves. Have a great day, and please continue to make mine and yours Shortbox. We'll talk to you soon. Peace.